Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds, hanging out with this nerd.
Nerdarchy Ted.
Today we delve back into Xanathar's Guide to Everything. We're going to be looking at subclasses for the Rogue.
Jump down in the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
And as always, we're delving back to Xanathar's Guide, so you know what that means. Down in the description, you can find a link to get your own copy of Xanathar's Guide. It's an Amazon link, it's an affiliate link, it helps support the channel.
So we're diving into Rogue, and you know, as always, there's all the different things to fluff up your character, and I have to say, this one's got me peeved.
And why is that? I mean, we have guilty pleasures, adversaries, and benefactors. They all seem to make sense for a rogue to me.
Well, in previous editions, we had the thief. It was all about the money-grubbing character, and they care more about wealth than they do their fellow adventurers.
You used to actually get XP for gold, too, back in the day.
Back in the day. Well, in later editions, they changed it to rogue, and it's more like the expert character. Specifically with 5th edition, you've got the ability to put expertise in any skills that you want. And you get more as you gain levels so that you become an expert in more and more things. Nothing in there, directly says you have to have expertise in stealth. You have to have expertise in, thieves' tools.
The rogue's always been a weird class. I mean, because they do have this very expert feel to them, but then they also have sneak attack, right? Or backstab from back in the day. And it's kind of a holdover. And it's like they're going to hit really hard. They're going to do a ton of damage. And then they have these like damage avoidance, danger avoidance abilities as well. So unless you build the rogue type character, the thief type character, none of that makes a lot of sense. And even then, it's still kind of iffy anyway. Because you're an expert, but then you're also the master of cheap shotting and getting out of harm's way. So it's this amalgamation of abilities they've slapped together that makes it interesting and fun character class, but at the same time, it's a little odd anyway. So you have to kind of suspend disbelief. And yes, for the most part, you generally are building a thief.
I just think that they spend the first half of this first page talking about, if you're going to make a rogue, all you care about is money. And I just don't make those kind of characters. You can have any character class that really cares about money. You don't necessarily have to have the rogue. You could have the Indiana Jones character who it's more about the lore and the risk. Or you can have the character that I made with Eyes, where he was the hunter. Like, he had investigation and perception as his expertise, and as he gained more, it was, okay, well, the thing that he was hunting, that's what he was taking expertise in for the later stuff. So it's like, that was the stuff that really was important to him. When you make your rogue, you take it in whatever is going to best suit that character,
and then add the weird abilities of being a master of cheap shotting people to it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you can build that into, as we've talked about in other videos. Oh, well, you're just incredibly lucky, or you spend time to be able to deal with that stuff.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you still have to jump through hoops to make that work.
True.
So that brings us to guilty pleasures.
So guilty pleasures, this is something that it's like, all right, one form of temptation that your rogue character can't resist when the opportunity presents itself, such as large gems, a smile from a pretty face, a new ring for your finger, the chance to deflate someone's ego, the finest food and drink, or adding to the collection of exotic coins.
I was pleasantly surprised by the list. I thought it was all going to be like this type of treasure or that type of treasure. I was happy to see things like a smile from a pretty face, chance to deflate someone's ego, finest food and drink, adding your collection of exotic coins, because the collection could be anything. You could change that out.
Right. So that's going to fit for most characters, and you could just as easily slap that on, anybody if you wanted to fluff out your character. outside of
But
Rogue.
that being said, like, it gives you an idea, and you can tailor this to your character. And that being said, like, you can mix and match all these fluff pieces, no matter what kind of character you're playing. You're a rogue, but there's no reason why you couldn't look at the fighter or look at the paladin or one of the other ones.
You could have a fighter who, he fights because he, enjoys making money to be able to afford the finest.
Yeah, so with all of these, it's just like hopefully they spark your imagination and help you think about your character in more ways than just this is a collection of mechanics and stats.
Correct. So we move on to adversary. So over the course of your background or your life, you've managed to upset somebody, and you've got a foil, a rival, an adversary that's out there to muck up your plans. If you haven't already created one in your backstory, work with your GM, you get this cool thing that, hey, this will be tied to you. It's going to add some extra role playing into the game. I like this idea.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, they got things like Pirate Captain, Spy Master, Master of a local thieves guild, Art Collector, Fence, and Proprietor of a legal pit fighting ring. So it's pretty diverse, and they've got some cool ideas in there, and you guys can feel free to make up your own.
Now, what I like about this is you have the ability to not only pick something and just have it, come out through gameplay, or you can have your GM pick one and you not have a clue about it, and it comes out that thing that you did in your background, this is that guy, and oh no. So I think that has a lot of fun nuance to it that you can use.
Yeah, especially like if you look at the master spy to whom you've unwittingly fed bad information. Well, you may not unwittingly, so you didn't know, and then all of a sudden he's coming after you because he killed the wrong guy. Oops. What do you want me to do about it?
So then we move on to Benefactor. Somewhere you've messed up, somebody helped you out. All the time, you see this kind of stuff in movies and, books.
Well, maybe you didn't mess up, but you owe someone a favor, is what it comes down to. And there's some interesting ones like Druid, Dragon, Magistrate, Beggar King, Smuggler. So these are kind of fun.
Beggar King, they must be, Watts must be reading or watching our videos.
Maybe, but I believe it's been a thing before we made it. Did something with it.
Nope. It's all about Nerdarchy.
Parents used their savings to bail you out from trouble in your younger days. Now they're destitute. So
yeah, that
there's
was
some good stuff there.
That was pretty harsh.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna get into the actual archetypes.
We are. Okay, guys. So real quick here. 2 of these are reprints from Sword Coast Adventures Guide. We've done them probably as Unearthed Arcana. If they were in Unearthed Arcana at some point, we've done them when we did the Sword Coast Adventure, so we're not going to go back and redo those. They don't change them when they reprint them, so you guys can just look and see what's there and check that out, or find our other videos on them if you want to know our take.
All right, so we're doing the Inquisitive and the Scout.
Inquisitive and Scout, that is correct.
All right, so the Inquisitive, 3rd level, you get Eye for Deceit. You have a talent for picking out lies, so whenever you make a Wisdom Insight check and you roll less than an 8, it's an 8.
Yeah, this one was funny because everything's the same, except for they used like 3 times as many words in the Unearthed Arcana to basically say, if you roll under a 7, it's an 8. So they really cleaned up the language and gave it an edit that made a lot of sense.
So Eye for Detail. Starting at 3rd level, you can use a bonus action to make a Wisdom Perception check or an Investigation check or Intelligence Investigation check to, spot a hidden creature or uncover or decipher clues.
Again, this one's the same, except for before they said as part of your cunning action, right? But they realized, wait a minute, if you're using your bonus action to do this, you're not using your cunning action, so it doesn't actually matter whether it's cunning action or not. And they just removed the part about being cunning action. So really, like, they've just used their cunning actions to make this stuff more concise so far.
And yet again, 3rd level, you get Insightful Fighting. So finally you get a combat ability. As a bonus action, you can make a Wisdom Insight check against a creature that you can see that isn't incapacitated, and it's contested by the target's Charisma Deception check. If you succeed, you can sneak attack them. Benefits last for a minute or until you use this on somebody else.
Yeah, so far, what we're seeing with the Inquisitive, they've got tons of stuff to do with their bonus action. They're hard to deceive. They're good at figuring things out. Now, this is going to be a lot of fun and useful depending on the type of game you're running. If you're running a dungeon crawl and you're not doing a lot of social interaction, 2 of those abilities might be useless.
Right. But getting 3 abilities, at that first, archetype level, not too bad. 9th level, you get Steady Eye. You have advantage on Wisdom Perception or Intelligence Investigation checks if you move no more than half your speed on the same turn.
All right, so this one you couldn't move before. Now you get to move half your movement. It's kind of cool. You get to use it all the time. Like if you're searching for stuff, it makes you really good at it. And that's basically what they're saying, right? So this he's good at finding out details, and
he's moving slow, and he's making sure that nothing gets missed.
Yeah, he's your Sherlock Holmes for sure.
Unerring Eye at 13th level, your senses are almost impossible to foil. As an action, you can sense the presence of illusions, shape changers that are not in their original form. Reaches out to 30 feet. You sense that an effect is attempting to trick you, but you gain no insight into what is hidden or into its true nature.
So this one used to be no limit on usage. You could just do it.
Yeah, now it's limited to your wisdom modifier minimum once, and you get it back after a long rest.
Yeah, so I don't know that this was a big deal that they could do it all the time because it takes your action to do it. So it's like you have to consciously be doing it. It's not like it's something that automatically happens. You got to be like, do I think something's funny here or not? I don't feel that it was like super powerful before. And when you kind of like weigh that against what the rest of the abilities are, it's not a super strong subclass. It could be fun to play and interesting, but that change I could have left it the same. It wouldn't bother me.
At 13th level, the ability to know that something within 30 feet of you is not in its natural form. And
detect illusions and stuff like that. But you have to actively say, I'm doing it.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, it's only within 30 feet.
Yes.
And you don't know exactly what it is. You just know that something's not right.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not all that powerful.
I don't think so. Maybe they got something back in the feedback that said otherwise. But
it broke my game. 17th level, Eye for Weakness. You learn to exploit a creature's weakness by carefully studying its tactics and movements. If you're using your insightful fighting, you get an extra 3d6 sneak attack added to your already massive pool because you're 17th level on that target.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, they increased it by a d6, so it got a little bit better. All in all, this is a good subclass. It's strong. It's pretty flavorful. It's going to be better depending on what kind of games you're running. If you're running more of an urban game or politic game or espionage game, this subclass is going to have a lot of time to shine. But if you're in the wilderness, if you're dungeon crawling, if you don't do a lot of role playing,
well, the dungeon crawling you're going to be useful for those traps, with the perception and investigate checks from Steady Eye at 9th level. But other than that, it's not going to be as helpful. Like you're not inciting loads of people and getting to the crux of the political intrigue.
Right, and even to do that, you have to move half movement. So granted, if you're moving slow to search anyway, you're already doing that, so it's not a big deal. So it's like an extra +5, and you add observant on that. That's another +5, so there's 10 because you did your eyes build. If that's where your double proficiency is at 9th level. What is that? A +4, +3? We're right around that area.
Yeah.
So you're at a 6 or an 8. Wisdom's already not a bad stat for this type of build anyway. So if you're putting it would be at least a +2.
Yeah.
So your passive is pretty high at that point. You're finding stuff. Even and you have to move slow to do it. So you might take the -5 for the dim light, but you're not going to get the other one because you're doing this other stuff. So yeah, you're finding stuff.
So Mastermind we've covered before.
We like that one. We've seen that one used in our game a lot. Ryan's character actually switched from the thief archetype or subclass.
Yeah, Mastermind really works out for
Lyndon.
For Lyndon. It's good stuff. So now we move on to Scout. So Skirmisher, starting at 3rd level, you are difficult to pin down during a fight. You can move up to half your speed as a reaction when an enemy ends its turn within 5 feet of you. This movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks.
Yeah, so the nice thing about this, especially if you're playing a ranged rogue, you're like always able to get out of melee. You're always able to move around, and if they've ended their turn, you're moving then. So I've actually encountered with my with my character Worm, the problem of when things get up in my face, I want to move away from them because I don't want to attack with disadvantage.
Right.
But then I'm taking attacks of opportunity, which if you watch the latest Save or Dice, you can see how that went for him.
Then we get into Survivalist, also at 3rd level. When you choose this archetype, you gain proficiency in knowledge, nature, and survival, and your proficiency bonus is doubled. It's like, oh, look at this. No, I just gained all this skill.
Yeah. I'm really good at this. Both of those are exactly the same. Although I will point out with Skirmisher, that ability is a little bit problematic at later levels. I guess it's Uncanny Dodge that lets you half the damage.
Mm-hmm.
That's a reaction too. So this guy is always going to be vying over, am I moving away or halving the damage?
Right.
So as a rogue, he already had a use for his reaction, and a really good one.
Right.
So now it's like, oh, what do you do?
9th level superior mobility. Your walking speed increases by 10. If you have a climb or a swim speed, it also increases by 10.
You know, useful. It's going to be helpful. Makes sense for this character. They're skirmish. They're literally skirmisher is one of their abilities, so they skirmish. So they need to move in and out of range.
This is the kind of character you want to get your superior mobility. You want to have the mobility feat. You want to take alertness or alert. 13th level, you get Ambush Master. You have advantage on initiative rolls. In addition, the first creature you hit during the first round of combat becomes easier for you and others to strike. Attack rolls against that target have advantage until the start of your next turn.
This is a really sweet ability. You have to wait a long time to get it, but it's a good one. But it was completely different. Starting at 13th level, you excel at leading ambushes. If any of your foes are surprised, you can use the bonus action on your turn in the first round of combat to grant each of your allies. You can see a +5 bonus to initiative that lasts till the end of the combat until the combat ends. If the initiative bonus would increase an ally's initiative above yours, the ally's initiative is instead equal to your initiative. Each of the allies will also receive a 10-foot increase in speed that lasts until the end of the ally's next turn. So it was completely different.
So you used to allow them to go faster and would allow them to move faster for the round.
Yeah, it helped everyone else with mobility initially and their initiative now, so it helps you with initiative, and it gives your allies advantage to attack. So
I think it's a cleaner take.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think it was a good change.
17th level, you get Sudden Strike. You can strike with deadly speed. Even though Rogue does not get 2 attacks a round, if you use attack action, you can attack twice, and as long as you attack 2 separate creatures, you can sneak them both.
Then this is exactly the same. So, this is nice. I don't know, that I would, the Scout suite of abilities altogether are that great. Thematically, I like it, but I don't know if it's enough to say, I'm not going to play an Assassin, or, I'm not going to play the Thief. The same with honestly, the same with the Inquisitive as well.
I don't think they're weak. I just don't think they're not enough to knock the Assassin or the Thief off the pedestal.
Yeah, they are definitely still the best. Of course, there's Swashbuckler as well. Well, and that's the other thing. Swashbuckler as well as the Mastermind are really strong too. So, of all the Thief archetypes we have right now, I feel like Scout and Inquisitive are kind of hanging out at the bottom. The Inquisitive is going to be more campaign specific. The Scout abilities just aren't going to be as useful. I would rather call myself a Scout and play an Assassin, right? And be a sniper or an expert archer. It's kind of cool that they get the extra expertise and extra skills. But at the end of the day, you're a rogue and you get a lot of skills anyway.
You get a lot of skills but this is like 2 automatic. 2 skills, 2 more expertises. That tends to look at that skill monkey. And if you're looking at doing a Ranger Rogue,
well, not even a Ranger Rogue. Why would you even bother with Ranger?
No. What I'm saying is, if you were before Scout came out, if you were thinking about making a Ranger Rogue, you could do it all with the Scout.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're going to be really good at moving around in the wilderness. You have expertise in those 2 things. And then you're like, well, you might as well take stealth and perception as well. Well, I still get 2 more. What am I going to use it for? Well, there's investigate and then whatever you want. That part is kind of nice, but then it's like after 3rd level, why bother? It's not until you get to the capstone ability for the subclass that I'm like, oh, this is really great.
Well, I don't know. I did while reading Scout, I did look back and say, well, if Scout was an option, would I have gone all Rogue with with eyes.
I mean, and the other thing is they have to wait the 13th ability to get, or 13th level to get the ability to have advantage on initiative. Well, the barbarian gets that at like 6th or 7th level.
That's true.
I mean, the other ability they get with it is nice, but that other ability they get with it actually pairs nicer with other rogues than it does like a lot of the other classes. I mean, everyone benefits from advantage,
Right.
but no one benefits as much as the rogue does. So I don't know. Like I don't know if I would play, these subclasses or not, or I just play an assassin or the swashbuckler or or the mastermind.
Right. That's for you to decide while you're making your character. So now we go into the last part of our mission, and that's to talk about how would we use these as villains.
Okay. So how we're gonna use these as villains, and we're gonna start with the Inquisitive because that one is first.
All right. So well, the Inquisitive I think is actually kind of easy. You're always going to have rivals. So this is the guy who's hunting the party down specifically, and you've got the ability to bring this guy in and use those awesome abilities right on the party. Okay, well, how good is your deception? Because my insight's awesome, and you insight the heck out of the fighter who's dumped charisma, and now you've got this suite of bonuses that you can use against them once you start tacking on the higher ability as well. Now you're adding extra dice into the damage pool. You have the ability to bring this guy in, and you could do like I'm going to capture the party, and he could literally interrogate them if you were into that kind of political game and trying to glean information. No, I don't care whether you live or die. I need the information.
Acolyte, witch hunter. That's it. That's all I got. I just want to make a witch hunter. I just want to make a character who's like, confess you're a witch, like whatever, for whatever reason in this campaign, in this game, that's a thing, and this is the guy that is leading the witch hunt. That's what it just screams to me.
Okay.
You could do Silver Flame if you're playing Eberron, and these would definitely work for during that time when the purge, when they're purging the lycanthropes, and then we're going after shifters as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like any role like that where the church is on a witch hunt, I think using witch as a metaphor for whatever they're hunting, but I think this is perfect for that. Love it.
I can't argue with that, and there's a reason why Inquisitive and Inquisitor aren't too far off.
Yeah, exactly. So that brings us to the Mastermind, and the Mastermind is just that. This is your thinker. This is the guy that wants to sit back and manipulate things from behind the scenes, and he is the spider in the spider web.
And he's the guy, just like some of the other things we've talked about. This is someone you can introduce early on. And he's the puppet master. He's sitting there, working all of his machinations as the campaign unfolds. And once you hit that crux, he then, you can do the cheesy thing of, oh, let me reveal to you all of my plans. And now that they've met fruition, although they haven't, because he's doing that gloating firsthand, and the players can try and stop it.
He's like the ultimate Bond villain, is essentially it. And because of his insightful manipulator ability that he gets at 9th level, if he's been hanging out with the party for the whole time, he knows everything you can do. He's figured out everything about your characters, and that's just using his one ability. That's not even going into the fact that he could do other things.
Right.
So now that brings us to the scout.
And we've already talked about this guy being the hunter. He's got the abilities for setting up ambushes. So that's what you do. You just you lay that trap at the right time, and when the party gets there, because they know you're going to be there, you spring it. Might not be a super lengthy involvement, but it's going to be one hard combat.
Yeah, I mean, we had talked about the idea of a Craven the Hunter type villain before. If you didn't want to go with one of the Ranger archetypes, well, the Scout archetype is another one that works really well for that. He could be a sniper, that the enemy uses to take out high powered targets. He could be a counter sniper if you have a sniper. So there's different ways you could use him. Basically these guys are like your army or your Marine special forces. That's how you would kind of use them in your game. Swashbuckler.
Swashbuckler, it already talks about, they could be pirates, or they could be whatever. Well, what if there's someone that they really care about the blade and they're challenging people to duels?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that before. This guy also makes an awesome pirate captain. He's really easy to use that way. If you didn't want to go the duelist route, he could be a bandit or a highwayman as well. That also just like enjoys being the best with the blade. So maybe you could even be like, oh, well, I'll let you go if one of you can defeat me in single combat.
Yeah, it's like the kind of character that you could have that is a constant reoccurrence. And okay, well, you've bested me today, but the party's a good guy, so they're not going to kill him, and everybody goes their separate ways. Well, now he's on a quest to get better, so the next time he sees you, I'm going to beat you this time.
Yeah, or he could even be a nobleman or aristocrat that is known for challenging people to duels, and like they could even meet him for the first time at a party or something like that. So political intrigue, that kind of stuff. He works really well for that.
I agree. So the question is, what do you guys think of the Rogue in Xanathar's Guide? It's a great place to continue the conversation. It's down below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Check us out over at Facebook.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.